Right, let's get this out of the way straight away. We deserved nothing from this match. Absolutely nothing from this match whatsoever. If I was a Porto fan, I would be sitting here absolutely ranting and raving about how we've not won this game. But instead, I'm sitting here as a Manchester United fan saying, how the hell have we not lost this game? And fair play to Harry Maguire and Alejandro Garnacho for actually giving a damn and being the reason why we haven't actually lost this game, because their contributions in those last 20 minutes are the reason that we managed to actually salvage a point from this match. Outside of that, I don't think there's a single player who can hold their head high tonight. And I'm going, well, I say player, there's not a single person related to Manchester United that can hold their heads held high tonight other than Garnacho and Harry Maguire. Because from top to bottom, it was an absolute disaster class once again. I don't get this notion of what they're saying where we had a really good first 20 minutes and then we let it slip away. Firstly, we got battered in the first 7 or 8 minutes of that match. On our first attack, Rashford does one La Croqueta and shoots, and Diogo Costa sticks his leg out a la David De Gea, and a la David De Gea, it slipped through him and went in the back of the net. We then got battered for the next 10 minutes, and on our second attack, Rasmus Højlund has a pop shot, and Diogo Costa saves it. It bounces into the floor, hits Costa on the back of the arm, and then goes in the back of the net barely. We had 2 attacks, we scored 2 goals, but they were both goalkeeping howlers. Apart from that, we got battered. So where was this really good 20 minutes that everyone's talking about? Because I didn't see it. And for those of you that are saying that Rashford had a good game, Rashford did not have a good game, because the 2 goals that he helped to contribute with, albeit a brilliant run and an okay shot for the first goal and a good pass to Rasmus Højlund for the second goal, he is as culpable for the 2 goals he scored as the 2 goals that we conceded whilst he was on the pitch, because yet again, he's hung Diogo Dalot out to dry, who is not a left-back, who is playing at left-back. Because reasons. We've got Harry Amas, who Luke Shaw says is the best English left-back in the country outside of himself, sitting in the academy when he had a really, really good pre-season. Blooming gave Mohamed Salah a game in pre-season, and he doesn't even get on the bench, and we're still playing a right-back at left-back who's clearly not comfortable defending at left-back when he plays left-back. Make it make sense. There is no leadership. That is the biggest thing for me right now. There is no leadership throughout this entire team. And that comes down to the manager and it comes down to the captain. And we keep going on about Bruno Fernandes this season. I'm not going to have a go at Bruno's performance tonight. I'm going to have a go at his leadership once again. And I spoke about it enough times last season. The drop-off we had last season with Bruno Fernandes as captain instead of Harry Maguire is absolutely noticeable for all to see. Your side is a reflection on your leadership. Erik ten Hag is struggling to get enough out of his players, and the players that are on the pitch are acting like a bunch of whinge bags because their captain is a whinge bag. It is so clear for all to see. And like I said, this is not me having a go at Bruno Fernandes' performance. Yes, he got sent off. We'll get to that in a moment. But his actual overall performance, his link-up play and his chance creation was actually a lot better tonight than it has been in the other games recently when I've been having a go at his performance. He was feeding Højlund. He was feeding Rashford. He was feeding Ahmad, but Ahmad, to be honest, didn't really get much involved in this game today. But his actual link-up play was better. But every time he gets the ball, the moment anyone's near him, he wants to go to ground. The moment he gets a sniff of goal, he wants to shoot. He's selfish. He looks for fouls. He's not driven to actually stand up and be accountable for. He wants the easy way out every single time. And I saw, because I watch things like Ref Watch on Sky, we now talk about Bruno Fernandes' red card. The challenge is cowardly. The challenge is cowardly. Both of them are. He gets 2 yellow cards for 2 high boots. And to be honest, neither of them are actually literally endangering the player because he doesn't actually make contact with either of them. But if you're putting your foot up high, it's a yellow card if there's a player in proximity. And if you've actually got some backbone behind you and you've got some genuine passion to fight for the shirt, you put your head in where it hurts. You put that head in where it hurts. And that is what I want from a Manchester United captain. Someone who is willing to die for the shirt. And I don't want to go on the whole, you start living in the past and this, that and the other. But I've got some of them behind me. Brian Robson, Eric Cantona, Nemanja Vidic. and the Herrera even at times, Gary Neville, people that were passionate, Roy Keane, all these players were passionate and were willing to die to go into challenges and put their head in where it hurts. And Bruno Fernandes has got sent off this time because he's not willing to put his head in where it hurts. And if he had, he might have scored from that chance, let alone not got there and got himself sent off, because that's what it means to actually fight. And I know he runs around a lot because he cares about the club, but this is what I'm saying. There's a difference between trying and actually being passionate. And I think that's where Bruno's lacking. Because if he was actually passionate, he wouldn't be constantly complaining at the referee. He wouldn't be constantly looking for free kicks. And he certainly wouldn't be putting his boot up in the air where he can actually get his head to it and put the ball in the back of the net. And this is why I talk about Harry Maguire, and I talk about the difference in how we've dropped off since we've taken the captaincy away from Maguire. Harry Maguire is not the best centre-back at Manchester United, but he's a far better leader than what Bruno Fernandes is. And when it mattered tonight, Harry Maguire put his head in where it hurts. So much so that Porto wanted a free kick for the challenge he put in to win that header. But he got there, he got the header, and he got it on target, and he scored, and he got us a point. And fair play to Harry Maguire for that. And that is why I'm also going to talk about Garnacho, because he didn't stop running. And everyone at half-time was going, oh no, Rashford's had such a good first half, because he had 2 good dribbles and passed it to Højlund. And what we're going to do without Rashford in this second half. I'll tell you what we're going to do without Rashford in the second half. We're going to have a winger on the left-hand side who doesn't stop running for 45 minutes. He was tracking back. He was winning the ball back. He was committing his player at every opportunity. All right, he didn't beat João Mario as often as Rashford did, but he still created enough problems. And because he was running around more, he actually got on the ball more than Rashford did in his 45 minutes. And it was his effort and his desire with 10 men to get us back on the ball and keep giving him the ball and allow him those opportunities to shoot that created the initial corner that got cleared back out to Garnacho, who went again and got the second corner, which we then eventually scored from. So that's what it means to play for Manchester United. It's about the passion. It's not about actual effort. It's about how you're using that effort. It's about the mannerisms. It's about the body language. And I just don't see it from Erik ten Hag at the moment, and I certainly don't see it from his captain in Bruno Fernandes. Outside of that, I mean, like I said, I've spoken about the 2 Manchester United goals, but the goals we concede again tonight are absolutely shambolic. The first goal, just, like I say, Rashford doesn't track back. Dallow's out of position because he's playing at left back. Ball comes into the box. Mazraoui is under pressure. He's got 2 men on him. He heads the ball, unfortunately for him, as he's trying to clear it. Onana doesn't make the best save, but I mean, for crying out loud, he's a point-blank save. He does what he can, and Martinez has switched off and he scored. And unfortunately, for a player that I love so much in Lisandro Martinez, that's not the only time he switched off, because that third goal comes from that one, but we'll get to that one shortly. The second goal, I mean, it's embarrassing. We just get bullied. We get absolutely bullied. Again, not tracking back enough. Rashford not working hard enough. Dallow out of position. Ball comes into the box. De Ligt gets absolutely obliterated by Omarodian. Absolutely obliterated. Could Onana have come out for it? Maybe. I'm obviously the first one to always moan about goalkeepers not coming for crosses. But stand your ground, Matthias. Be the physical defender that we've signed you to be. Paul Scholes said the other day on the overlap that De Ligt is no different to Maguire. Well, Maguire put in a much better physical performance than what De Ligt did tonight. So maybe Maguire's better than De Ligt, because Omarodian battered him on that one. And then the third goal is just everything in a nutshell, because I'll touch on the whole midfield stuff in a moment as well. But it's one ball in behind. Martinez has stepped up again because he just keeps stepping up. Ball in behind. He's not got the pace to track back. Omarodian he's all over De Ligt. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't get his body in the way. He shoves him out of the side. It's a brilliant finish from Samu. And it was 3-2 to Porto. And at that point, we deserved to lose. And yes, we did look like we could get ourselves an equaliser with 11. And we looked like we could still get one with 10. And thankfully we did. But we didn't deserve it. Not by any stretch of the imagination. And now finally, we'll talk about the tactics and how we're set up and everything that Erik ten Hag is doing wrong. I've already spoken about Martinez stepping up, and that needs to stop because it's just leaving the defensive shape completely imbalanced. De Ligt then tries to play offside trap. Mazraoui doesn't know what to do because he's not up to speed with how we're playing yet. Dallow's completely out of position because he's playing left centre mid rather than an actual left back. And you just got this sort of situation where you've got Dallow here, Martinez then charges up to here. De Ligt's then sort of like, well, they're already over here, so I've got to go over here. So then Mazraoui, and it's completely imbalanced. Again, I talk about the overlap. Gary Neville, when he spoke about what Alex Ferguson used to do with them in training. And I think it's what we need to go back to. Get the rope out. Get a 22-metre rope, tie it around every single player in that back line, and you tell them to try and do what they've been doing, because if they do it, that rope's going to pull the other players over. We need a solid defensive line in place. Then get another rope and tie it between Højlund and the back two, because the gap is huge. It's huge. It's like we're playing a high line with a low block, and then we've got Eriksen and Casemiro in the middle who can't run to save their lives, covering like 60 yards of ground. It's no wonder they're getting overrun in there. The spaces is absolutely ginormous. And then it's like, why are we even playing Casemiro and Eriksen in the first place? I spoke about it the other day. Eriksen is not a square peg in a round hole. He's a round peg in a square hole, because he still fits in that position. But the moment everything starts moving around, he starts sliding around in that place because he doesn't know where to be in the right position, because he's just sliding all over the place. Casemiro's got too much ground to cover. Ugarte was signed for 60 million and he's sitting on the bench in a European game. Is that not why we signed him? Surely he should be in there. But then again, I come to that point. Even if he is in there, he's got 60 yards to cover, because the gap between the front line and the back line is just so big. You could put an entire football team in the middle in there. And that's basically what Porto were doing. It's basically what Spurs were doing the other day. And best believe it's what Aston Villa are going to do on Sunday. If we play like that, we're just going to get obliterated. We're going to get obliterated. Like I said, let's not get it twisted. The goals we scored tonight were 2 goalkeeping howlers, and then Porto sitting back on a 1-goal lead with 10 men, and Harry Maguire popping up with a great header at the back post. How we've scored 3 goals, I don't know. How Porto haven't scored more than 3 goals, I don't really know, because again, Onana on the 1v1s, okay, he saved them, but he didn't exactly close down the angles. They were poor finishes. The first one, he had the whole left-hand side of the goal to aim at, and he hit it straight at Onana. The second one clearly doesn't play enough FIFA, because the sweat was on. He had a tap-in open goal on the far side, and he shot straight at Onana. So we got away with that, and it's amateur hour. It's absolute amateur hour. And again, this is why I talk about leadership, because Erik ten Hag stands there on that touchline with that worried look on his face, and standing 2 yards behind him, pacing around, full of energy, full of passion, actually shouting at the players, is Ruud van Nistelrooy, who knows what it means to play for this football club and knows what it means to have the passion for this football club. Because he's been there, he's got the passion, he cares, he knows what it's like to wear the shirt. And he's showing more passion and more direction as Manchester United's coach than what Erik ten Hag is as the manager at the moment. And that's not me saying sack ten Hag and put Van Nistelrooy in charge. I think we're probably 90 minutes away from that happening anyway, as and when we get battered by Villa on Sunday. But like I say, you look through that squad right now, and I don't see any leadership. I've sat here for the last 4 years and said Scott McTominay should have been Manchester United captain. Again, he's not the best player, but he knows what it means to wear the shirt because he came through the academy. You saw the drive, and he lifted the players around him when he was coming on last season, and we've sold him to Napoli. So now who's your leadership? Like I said, tonight, it was bringing on Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. And everyone laughed at Ten Hag for that. But you know what? Fair play to him, because we actually got some goddamn leadership on the pitch when those two came on. We showed some more defensive organisation, and like I've already spoken about, it was Maguire that popped up with the goal. So, I don't know. I would be seriously looking at changing the captaincy immediately. Definitely, I know they're going to be considering changing the manager, and that decision might have already been made. Maybe, again, we've got a game on Sunday to save his job. We won at Villa last year. If we do it again this year, it would be an absolute miracle. But do you know who saved us against Aston Villa last year? You guessed it, Scott McTominay. Not available. But I just don't know where we stand right now. I just think we need to go back to basics. I think the attacking patterns of play are there. I really do think they are there. But this organisation, the space we leave in the midfield and the defensive line being up and down and all over the place just needs to go back to basics. Set your foundations right. Solid back four, midfield cover, and narrow spaces to the striker. Because then it also allows space in behind. When you've got the likes of Rashford and Garnacho and Højlund and Ahmad and Anthony and whoever you want, they make runs in behind. If they're already that far forward, they can't make runs in behind. If you're more compact, I'm not saying you have to play a low block. But as long as you actually stay consistent in your shape, it gives you the opportunity to then make runs in behind or come short because you're already there. Go back to basics. They've got, 3 days to prepare for Aston Villa? Aston Villa beat Bayern Munich. We scraped a 3-3 draw against an out-of-form Porto. We're in massive, massive trouble at Villa Park on Sunday. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What would you do? Honestly, answers on a postcard. What would you do? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.